Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
A moment of personal privilege, which I've been known to take. But everybody has a Katie story. Amen. Everybody. Not only did she have time for you, she had a smile for you. You'll never forget that smile. She remembered your name. I would see Katie maybe every 3 or 4 years, but she always greeted me, "Hi, Barbara, how have you been?" That was the kind of person she was. My task this afternoon, and it's not a task, but to acknowledge one among us that is indeed a living legacy, and that's our moderator, the elder Zandra Maffett. She is certainly a quiet but forceful servant of grace, goodness, and much skill. We jokingly talk about PKs or preacher's kids, and indeed she is one of the good guys. Her father was the late Reverend Robert Lee Maffett Sr., who founded the Bethel Presbyterian Church here in North Philadelphia in 1947. He knew in that area there was a need for a ministry to minister to the needs of the community. And it's interesting that I can see where that heritage is obtained. Bethel's mission statement said, and I quote, "Our purpose is to do God's work, meeting people where they are and loving them in all the things we do. Our goal is to be a beacon of light where if one is hurt, we're all hurt. And if one is happy, we're all happy." You've already had a glimpse that the apple has not fallen far from the tree. Some things are highlighted in the program, but what you may not know, and I just found out a day ago, I knew she was an extensively traveled lady, not only in the United States, but throughout the world, to the point that she has been solicited as a travel consultant. So if you want to go to somewhere that you probably never heard of, Zandra's probably been there, tell you where the best restaurant is, hotel, and all that kind of good stuff. We're going to give you a new career, travel consultant, like you have spare time. But seriously, I think one thing she would like us to know, Zandra, and I quote, had a blurb about why I give. And it was in reference to the African American Leadership and Congregations Collective. And it said, and I quote, "I support the African American Leadership and Congregation Collective so that legacies and contributions to these churches will not be lost." Those are the small churches that may still be struggling or have closed. It continues by saying, "It warms my heart to know that through this initiative, future generations will be able to research, learn about Presbyterian schools, hear the voices of church leaders and choirs, view digitized images of youth groups, camps, and church events, and sense the vitality of these congregations. Thanks to the Presbyterian Historical Society and its supporters for the life and spirit that these churches will live on, never to be forgotten." Amen. And indeed, we do have a living legacy among us. Amen. Thank you.
And so, on behalf of the National Black Presbyterian Caucus, Philadelphia Chapter, and the Presbytery of Philadelphia, we present to you Elder Zandra Maffett the Living Legacy Award for 2023, and signed by the moderators and our executive presbyter and co-moderator, Reverend Hannah Grace.
Amen.
This way. Yes.
Okay.
And in closing here, Elder Zandra and all of our presenters and our living legacies are receiving these beautiful, thank you, brother, these beautiful handmade African print pillows.
Wow.
By one of our members of our church at Cedar Park, who is 80 years young and still thriving and thriving. This is an original, and her original design and label is also stitched on the inside. Adrian Bailey. So you have an Adrian Bailey original. All 5 of the pillows that have been distributed or will be distributed today are all different, each made for its recipient. So God bless you.
Wow. Thank you. As I stand here, I reminded why I became a lifelong member of the Black Presbyterian Caucus. And that's because I strongly support their goals. And those goals I try to live out. And they include encouraging wide participation by African Americans within the Presbyterian Church USA, our denomination. And also encouraging our synods and our presbyteries and our congregations to speak up for the disadvantaged, the marginalized, and the oppressed. And so I stand here after listening to the names in Reverend Cannon's speech and hearing about Katie Cannon. And here I stand, and I'm greatly honored, but I'm deeply humbled to be able to say thank you for this recognition.
And I just want Sister Zandra to know, and I don't know if I've ever told her, but I met her father years ago because my husband did his internship under Reverend Maffett. And I've been knowing, had a relationship with them. Okay. I'd like to introduce another special person, not only in our caucus, but in our presbytery and in the denomination. And she just realized this, and so she's threatened me.
I'm going to carry it out, too.
Is Barbara Adams Smelter.
Amen.
I have been knowing Barbara since she was a teenager. And I first met Barbara and her family when we came back from Michigan to be called to the Reed Memorial Presbyterian Church. And I don't know that I've ever known when Barbara was not actively involved in the church. Her parents were, and so she just followed in their footsteps. Especially when you saw her mom over at the church, you always saw Barbara. And even when we would be meeting for the Ruth Guild, there was Barbara.
Had to get a free meal.
And I don't want to read her little bio here because it is extensive. But Barbara has worked throughout this Philadelphia Presbytery on many committees, in the Synod, and even on the General Assembly level, and also with the Black Caucus. And you are a lifetime member of the Black Caucus. But we celebrate you for who you are. And anybody that needs a piano player or an organist, just call Barbara. Barbara never says no. But we deeply appreciate the work that you are doing, not only in the Black Caucus, but also in our presbytery and representing us so well. So God's blessings upon you, Barbara. Be kind to me.
Your flower can smell them. There might be a tasty cake in here, it's a little sweet potato pie. And here is your certificate also on behalf of the National Black Presbyterian Caucus and the Presbytery of Philadelphia, awarded to Elder Barbara Adams Smelter as our living legacy for 2023.
Amen.
You're very welcome. And you're allowed to show yours too. And here is yours. That is your original design.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Thank you.
You want to say something?
No. Oh, yes.
You're better than to tell me no. I don't know why she thought she was going to get away when I said, could I say something? She said no. She should know me better. All joking aside, it's a very bittersweet time. A year ago, at this very celebration, a prayer was said for my partner of 40 years. He was so seriously ill, and 2 days later, he had passed on to his reward. But during that year, many of you that are sitting there have been my companions, my friends, my parents, my protectors, and my providers, and anything else that was needed, and I thank you. And as Zandra said, it's such a privilege to be mentioned in the same breath as those that have gone before us and have set milestones that we are trying to achieve. But thank you all for your physical and mental support that you have provided this year. Thank you.